Sears X-Cargo Sport 20 rooftop carrier. I just got this, pretty good deal. It's in great condition, used. Guy was just getting tired of lugging it around between his shed and his garage. Anyway, it's the early 80s models were a lot more sturdy, and they clamshelled from the side, which was a lot easier to load. These are more streamlined and look a lot better, of course. And the first thing I did, of course, was want to make it better. Now, I noticed the inside hinges, the bottom one had 3 rivets, the top one only had 2, and they were here on the outsides. So the center was kind of a weak point. So I got a couple of aluminum pop rivets, drilled them in, and on the outside it looks like this. That happens to be a focus in here. That happens to be a push rivet, plastic push rivet that I cut the back off of. Happened to fit perfectly with that rivet. I believe that's a 3/16. But push rivets are used to hold body panels on cars and undercarriage protectors on cars, that cover up, when you look under a car and you can't see the engine because there's a plastic plate. These push rivets are used. I had a bunch of those that happened to fit perfectly, so I used those. So I got 3 rivets on each side instead of 2. Now the lock, when I bought it, the guy didn't have keys, so he ordered me a new set of keys, and they didn't work. And I couldn't figure it out. And then somebody suggested, actually the guy who sold him the keys off eBay suggested that I lubricate the lock. That's the first thing I should have done. So I grabbed some penetrating oil and blasted the hell out of it, and it works perfectly now. The latch, however, was a little wonky, and I'll tell you why. It is because, again, with the rivets, the powers that be, the engineers, only put the rivets at the bottom because you can't fit a rivet tool in the top from the outside because of this lip, which is, it's a great lip to keep the weather out and they seal it, but you can't get rivets up top here. So I managed to sneak in 1 rivet on each side. It wasn't easy, but I did it. Aluminum rivets, and it's sturdy. And now when I close it, it aligns perfectly. Whereas before I had to kind of push down on this to get it to align because that inside piece was actually flexed a little inward, and it wouldn't line up properly. But now it's rock solid. Lines up nice. I covered up the holes that aren't needed with gaffer's tape, and put a couple of indicators for where the U-bolts have to go, just for quick ID. And if somebody else is going to be putting this on the car, namely my wife, all the help the better, as we know. All right, well, that's Sears X-Cargo Sport 20. If you have problems with your lock, lube the crap out of it with penetrating oil, not WD-40. That stuff's not really a great lubricant. And the latch fix really makes a difference. It's not easy. You gotta drill a pilot hole, drill a proper size hole, sneak that in sideways. You gotta have the right rivet tool. I had one from Harbor Freight. It worked pretty good. And will that make a real difference? I don't know, but the bottom had 3 for obvious purposes. The top should have 3. It seems like a good retrofit for me. All right.